what's the process of deciding this? The internet seems to really care about. I mean, they love the game so much, so they want to know if anything was cut. And I'm sure stuff was cut because you have to choose.
Mm-hmm.
What's the process of deciding what to cut? What to cut scenes like? Is there any scenes that you had to let go of that you really miss or wish you could have done in either GTA or RDR?
Well, I think the games ended up the way they were supposed to be.
Yeah.
You know, I think there was a bit at the start of RDR where he'd had a baby who just died in Red Dead 2, and we ended up cutting it, which was the right decision. It was too tough in some ways, but I think it gave him real, and he was not very sympathetic to his sort of occasional girlfriend who'd had the baby. And so it made him very, very nasty at the start, which I thought would be interesting to play around with, because then it would make his redemptive arc even more interesting. Like, he was not a likable character at the start, and that was one. And we ended up making him slightly more like. He's still sort of tough and nasty, but he's slightly more likable early on. That was the right decision commercially. It's better that way. But I don't, you know. But I still, I like that little bit. It spoke to me personally. There and just his inability to access his emotions, I thought was really strong, because then later in the game he's going to get very emotional. But there's also always little bits and pieces that get trimmed. You know, and don't, well, missions that just are not going to work technically. Usually it's like, this mission's not going to work technically. Oh God, we've got to cut it. Okay, how do we glue the story back together? And we got better over time at gluing the story across missing chunks. You get late in the game and it's just something, you know, some big challenging moment just is going to look rubbish. So you just get rid of it.
I think editing film, and I imagine editing video games, editing down is an art form, but it's also just, it feels like torture, because you're letting go of things you put so much love into.
Yeah, it could mean changes. You know, if you fall in love with something and everyone else goes, let's change it, that could be, of course, that would be upsetting in some ways. Otherwise, you didn't care about it. But, you know, if I was involved in the big creative thing and you go, okay, it's the right decision, I can probably live with that fine. I think sometimes for designers, when they're only designing 4 or 5 missions in the whole game and 2 of them get cut, that must be really, really hard.